She thought I'd never notice. She thought I'd never find out. But the truth always has a way of coming out, and when it did, everything changed. My name is Daniel, and for 12 years, I thought I had the perfect marriage. My wife, Emily, was everything I'd ever wanted: beautiful, intelligent, and full of charm. Together, we built a life many people would envy. We had a cozy home, took vacations to exotic places, and shared countless laughs over candlelit dinners. I trusted her completely. But trust is fragile. It can be shattered in an instant. It all started with small things, things you'd never pay attention to unless you were looking for them. Emily began coming home later than usual, claiming she was swamped with work. At first, I didn't question it. She was dedicated to her job, and I admired her ambition. But then there were the late-night phone calls. She'd step out of the room, her voice hushed, her laughter softer than it used to be. When I asked her who it was, she'd wave it off. "Just Sarah from work," she'd say, smiling as if there was nothing to worry about. I wanted to believe her. But then I started noticing the changes. Emily, who had always been content with her simple wardrobe, suddenly developed an interest in designer brands. New dresses, expensive perfumes, and shoes I knew she'd never wear to the office started showing up in her closet. "You're spoiling yourself," I joked one day, trying to keep things light. She laughed, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Just treating myself for working so hard," she replied. Her excuses were convincing. Too convincing. The moment that changed everything came on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Emily had gone to meet a friend, and I decided to tidy up the house. While organizing the laundry, I noticed her phone on the nightstand. It buzzed, lighting up with a notification. Normally, I wouldn't have looked, but this time, something compelled me to. The message was from someone named Liam. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait to see you again. Red heart." My heart stopped. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. Who was Liam? What had happened last night? I didn't confront her immediately. Instead, I decided to gather more evidence. Over the next few days, I paid closer attention. I noticed her phone was now password protected, something she'd never done before. She'd leave the room whenever it buzzed, her face lighting up in ways I hadn't seen in years. One night, while she slept, I carefully unlocked her phone. The password was her usual. She hadn't thought to change it. What I found confirmed my worst fears. Messages, photos, videos, all exchanged with Liam. He was younger, fitter, and, by the looks of it, completely shameless. In one message, he wrote, "I can't believe you're still with that old man. You deserve someone like me." Old man? I clenched my jaw, feeling a surge of anger I hadn't felt in years. For days, I wrestled with my emotions. The betrayal felt like a dagger to my chest, but the anger burned even hotter. I couldn't let this slide. Emily didn't just betray me. She disrespected me. But I wasn't going to confront her then and there. No, that would have been too easy for her. She needed to feel the weight of her actions. She needed to learn a lesson she'd never forget. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. Emily's birthday was just a few weeks away. She was excited, making plans for a big party with friends and family. "This year, I want something unforgettable," she said one night, her eyes twinkling with excitement. I smiled, hiding the storm inside me. "Don't worry, Emily. This birthday will be one you'll remember for the rest of your life." What she didn't know was that I wasn't planning a celebration. I was planning her nightmare. As the date approached, I started laying the groundwork. I hired a private investigator to dig deeper into her affair with Liam. I wanted proof, photos, messages, anything that could expose the truth. And the investigator delivered. The images were damning. Emily and Liam meeting at a fancy restaurant, holding hands in the parking lot, and walking into a hotel together. Each photo felt like another nail in the coffin of our marriage. But I wasn't sad anymore. I was determined. By the time her birthday arrived, I had everything I needed: a plan, irrefutable evidence, and the resolve to see it through. Emily thought she was getting a celebration, but she had no idea what was coming. "This is where the fun begins," I whispered to myself as I finalized the details. The stage was set. Her affair had led her here, and now it was time for her to face the consequences. She betrayed me, but she didn't realize I was the wrong man to mess with. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers on edge, eager to see how Daniel will execute his plan. When trust is broken, it's not just about the betrayal. It's about reclaiming your dignity and showing them who they underestimated. As Emily's birthday crept closer, I transformed my pain into focus. The humiliation of Liam's words, "old man," rang in my ears every time I thought about giving up. But I wasn't going to let anger consume me without purpose. No, I was going to turn it into something powerful. The first step was gathering evidence. I had already seen enough to confirm the affair, but I needed irrefutable proof, something that would leave no room for excuses. The private investigator I hired was meticulous. Within days, he delivered a folder filled with photos, timestamps, and even audio recordings of Emily and Liam's rendezvous. The images painted a clear picture: Emily and Liam meeting in parking lots, sneaking into hotels, and exchanging flirtatious kisses at a cafe. But the audio recordings? They were the final blow. In one clip, Emily giggled, saying, "He's so predictable. He doesn't suspect a thing." Liam chuckled. "You deserve someone who can actually keep up with you." I clenched my fists, but instead of losing control, I smiled. Let them laugh, I thought. They won't be laughing for long. The plan comes together. Emily was busy organizing her party, oblivious to the storm brewing behind the scenes. She wanted it to be perfect. Friends, family, and even some of her colleagues were on the guest list. "Make sure you invite your parents," she told me one evening. "And don't forget to pick up the cake." I nodded, hiding the smirk threatening to break through. The party wasn't going to be a celebration for Emily. It was going to be her reckoning. I spent days meticulously preparing every detail. The evidence was arranged into a presentation: photos, messages, and even the audio recordings. But I didn't want it to just be an exposé. I wanted it to be a journey. I included images of our happiest moments together: our wedding day, the birth of our son, vacations, and anniversaries. I wanted everyone to see what she had thrown away. And then I planned the twist, the affair. The cake was the final touch. Instead of the elegant design Emily had requested, I had something special made. It was a plain white cake with a damning message written in bold red icing. "Happy birthday, Emily. Enjoy your new life with Liam." Beneath the icing, I included a small USB drive embedded in the cake board. The drive contained all the evidence, just in case Emily tried to deny anything later. Liam, the catalyst. I didn't stop at exposing Emily. Her younger lover wasn't going to walk away unscathed. Liam thought he could charm his way through life, but he had underestimated me. Through the investigator, I discovered that Liam had a habit of targeting married women. He'd use them for excitement, but when things got too serious, he'd leave. I wasn't about to let him repeat that cycle with anyone else. I sent an anonymous tip to his employer, attaching photos of his behavior. Liam, it turned out, had been using company time and resources to pursue his affairs. It wasn't long before I heard he was under investigation. But I wasn't done yet. Liam's family was on social media, a sweet-looking mother and a younger brother who idolized him. I sent them copies of the evidence too, letting them see the kind of man Liam truly was. The day of the party. The house was buzzing with excitement. Guests arrived, chatting, laughing, and admiring the decorations Emily had carefully planned. She was radiant, her confidence shining through. "You've outdone yourself this year," one of her friends told her, raising a glass. Emily smiled, basking in the attention. She had no idea what was coming. As the evening unfolded, I played the perfect host, greeting everyone warmly, refilling drinks, and ensuring everything went smoothly. But beneath the surface, my heart raced. The moment of truth was near. I stepped onto the small stage we'd set up for speeches, holding a glass of champagne. The room quieted as I raised my hand. "Thank you all for being here to celebrate Emily's special day," I began, my voice steady. "Emily and I have shared so many wonderful moments over the years. Tonight, I'd like to share some of them with you." The projector lit up behind me, displaying a photo from our wedding day. The guests clapped, and Emily beamed, her cheeks flushed with happiness. I continued, showing images of our vacations, family milestones, and holidays. Each slide brought laughter and warm applause. But then the tone shifted. The next slide was a grainy photo of Emily and Liam, walking hand in hand into a hotel. The room fell silent. Emily's smile froze, her eyes darting to me in confusion. "What is this?" she whispered, but I ignored her. More photos followed, intimate moments, stolen kisses, and flirty text messages displayed for everyone to see. The guests gasped, their expressions ranging from shock to disbelief. "Emily," I said, turning to her, "this is the life you've chosen." I thought it was only fair for everyone to see it too. Emily tried to stand, her voice trembling. "Daniel, stop this. Please, we can talk about this later." But I wasn't done. The final slide was the cake, wheeled out by a waiter. The red words glared back at her as everyone in the room stared. "Go ahead," I said, my voice cold. "Make a wish." The stage was set, but the nightmare was only beginning. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers desperate to see Emily's reaction and the fallout of Daniel's plan. As the guests stared at the cake, the room felt frozen in time. The damning red letters, "Happy birthday, Emily. Enjoy your new life with Liam," seemed to scream louder than any words ever could. Emily's face turned pale, her hands trembling as she reached for the knife. But I wasn't done yet. The climax, the full reveal. "Before you cut the cake, Emily," I said, my voice cold but steady, "there's one more thing I'd like to share with everyone." I clicked the remote in my hand, and the screen behind me lit up again. This time, it wasn't pictures of vacations or anniversaries. It was audio recordings. The first clip began with Emily's laughter. "He's so predictable," she said, her voice dripping with disdain. "He has no idea. I just tell him I'm working late, and he believes it." Gasps filled the room. Emily's eyes darted around, searching for a way out, but there was none. The second clip featured Liam. "You deserve better than that old man. You're too beautiful to waste your time on him." The room erupted into whispers. Her parents looked horrified, her friends avoided her gaze, and colleagues exchanged awkward glances. Emily stood, her voice trembling. "Daniel, please. Stop this. We can fix this. We can talk about it." I shook my head, my jaw set. "Talk. You had plenty of time to talk. But you chose lies instead." I turned to the guests, my tone firm. "This is the truth of the woman I trusted for 12 years. The woman I thought I knew. And that man," I pointed to the back of the room where Liam stood frozen, "is the reason my family is shattered." Liam's humiliation. All eyes turned to Liam, who had been trying to blend into the background. He cleared his throat, attempting to muster his usual charm. "Listen, man, I didn't mean for it to go this far," he stammered. I interrupted him, my voice sharp. "You didn't mean for it to go this far? Was that before or after you called me an old man and told her I wasn't good enough?" The crowd turned on him next. One of Emily's friends shouted, "You're disgusting." Others muttered insults under their breath. Liam, realizing he was out of options, turned to Emily. "You told me this wouldn't happen," he hissed. Emily reached for his arm, desperation in her eyes. "Liam, wait. Don't leave me." But he yanked his arm away. "This is your mess, not mine," he snapped before storming out of the room. The wife's nightmare. Emily collapsed into her chair, tears streaming down her face. Her once perfect world had crumbled in front of everyone she cared about. Her parents looked at her with a mixture of disappointment and shame. Her mother stood, her voice trembling. "How could you do this, Emily? To your husband? To our families?" Emily's sobs grew louder, but no one moved to comfort her. I walked over to the table, pulling out a folder. "Happy birthday, Emily," I said, dropping it in front of her. She hesitated, her hands shaking, before opening it. Inside were divorce papers. The room fell silent. "I hope Liam was worth it," I said, my voice cold. "Because this is the life you've chosen. And now, you'll have to live with it." The aftermath. The party ended in chaos. Guests left in stunned silence, many avoiding Emily's gaze as they exited. Some came to me, offering quiet words of support, but I barely registered them. Emily's parents approached me, their faces etched with sorrow. Her father extended a hand. "I don't agree with how you handled it," he said, his voice heavy, "but I understand why you did." I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. In the days that followed, the fallout continued. Liam lost his job after his employer confirmed the evidence I'd sent. His reputation in his community was ruined, and as far as I knew, he'd moved away to escape the shame. Emily, on the other hand, was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered life. Her friends distanced themselves, her parents couldn't look her in the eye, and our divorce was finalized within months. She tried to apologize, tried to convince me to take her back. "I made a mistake, Daniel," she said one day, her voice pleading. "I was stupid, and I regret everything," but it was too late. The husband's empowerment. I walked away from that chapter of my life with my dignity intact. It wasn't easy. There were nights when the pain felt unbearable, when I questioned if I could have handled things differently. But every time I thought about the betrayal, I reminded myself of one thing. I didn't deserve to be disrespected. I didn't deserve to be lied to. And now I was free. Betrayal cuts deep, but it doesn't have to break you. Sometimes it can be the beginning of something stronger. For me, it was the start of a new life, one where I finally put myself first. The screen fades to black, leaving viewers with a powerful reminder of justice, empowerment, and the consequences of betrayal.